When I first started running Meta ads, I thought that the order that you tested things just didn't matter. But spoiler, it matters a lot, especially if you don't want to waste days or dollars on stuff that was never ever going to work in the first place. So here is how I test ads when I'm running $10 a day and why I always start with the visual. Hey, I'm Melissa, and I once paid agencies to run $800,000 worth of Google ads, and they worked, but I have no fucking clue where the money actually went. So now I am obsessed with squeezing every single dollar out of just $5 to $10 a day on Meta, which is Facebook or Instagram or both. And I've just figured out a few things that work for me and about 100 other people that I've worked with. And I'll probably change my mind in a year because I learn something new basically every week. But here is what I am doing right now. All right, so back in the day, I would just throw whatever, headlines, captions, videos, images, change it all at once and hope that something worked. But it turns out without a scroll stopper, your genius captions are just screaming into the void. No clicks, no DMs, just you and Meta holding hands, watching your budget disappear. And that's why my very first test is always visual first, image or video. And at $10 a day, here is how I do it now. So I have one campaign and one master ad. Let me show you. This is one ad that I'm running right now. Everything is the same from all these 3 ads. The whole caption, yes, it's long. The headline, the text on here, except watch this. Here's what I call expression 1. Here is expression 3. And here is expression 2. Yes, all of these ads are exactly the same except my face changes. So I call it all the master ad except with 3 different visuals. But in this case, the only thing that changed was my expression. Other things you can think about is think about close up against far away against a lifestyle picture or video. Or maybe you have the same kind of work or same pose, but you use 3 different age ranges. So someone who's 25, someone who's 35, and someone who's 45. You can get creative, but moral of the story is only the visual changes first. Everything else stays the same. Now, in order to test this, every single ad gets its own ad set. And if you don't know what that is, we have ad sets where you can set like location, audience, budget, and then the ad itself is inside the ad set. More on that in a different tutorial. But at the ad set level is where I set my budget. And for me, I set this ad set at $3.33. And you see a bunch of stuff here, but I started off with expression 1, expression 2, and expression 3, all with $3.33, totaling about $10 a day. Then I run it for 3 to 4 days. And these are the ads that are off. That was my first test. This is my third test. And you can see over here, I let it run a little bit more. Actually, let it run for double, but it gave me really good data. So on each ad, I let it spend $19. All of them spent $19. And they all got leads, but you can see they're very different. But I don't even care about that yet. So what I check first is which one got the most clicks. Okay, but here's how you can actually tell. Okay, in Meta Ads Manager, I'm gonna move my face. You see this little columns. We're in the ads tab. Columns, I'm on performance and clicks, and this little scrolly bar all the way to the side. And I'm so sorry, I'm going to show you a number. I'm looking at CTR all numbers, right? Okay, so bear with me. CTR all is how many clicks your ad got. So if I click on this to preview, it's anywhere someone has clicked on the ad, but they can click on your page or profile or whatever. They can click like, comment, or share, but most likely they click this little see more. So for generalization, I just assume it's the see more because most of the clicks I think are going there. So which of my 3 expressions got the most see more when everything about the ad was exactly the same? Well, the results were really interesting. So if you look at this column here, I'm gonna go from highest to lowest. So you can actually see, even though everything is exactly the same ad, it's just my face is changing different expressions. One of them got 6.6, and then the next one got about half that. And then underneath that, it got into the 2% range. Okay, and these are percents. I know you might be thinking like, oh God, numbers, but this one really matters, and it's what I look at first. In order to figure out what's good across most service-based businesses, as a general benchmark, and this can change, I would want to make sure that this CTR all is anywhere between 3% to 5%. So the fact that this one got over 5%, 660, is clearly the front runner to me. But I've even had ones that are up at 11%. And you can see this one, I spent over $2,000 on this ad. This one, it was a dynamic creative, so it was actually testing different ads. Different story for a different day. But you can see the CTR all is 11.55%. But this one was pretty clickbaity. I don't kind of do that stuff anymore. But it says free course, amount of money in number of days. And there's different visuals that ran, it was this one, and this video was the winner. And it's free course, and then it's free course 1,000. So it's like free course, very clickbaity. I don't like doing that anymore. Story for another day, but I like doing just better writing now. I'm just not a fan of that vibe anymore. Okay, but here is why that matters. So the difference between 2.5% and 5%, it sounds like a super tiny difference, but it's the difference between 50 clicks and 100 clicks, or 500 clicks and 1,000 clicks. It makes a huge difference. It's twice as many eyeballs that are actually interested without spending a single dollar more, because I like using small budgets. So this is really interesting. So even though, watch this one got the most amount of clicks and they all spent the same amount. Okay, it got 3 leads, and that one got 3 leads, and that one got 1 lead. So that's super weird. If this one got half as many clicks, why do they have the same amount of leads? Oh my gosh, so many reasons. In general, the more clicks you get, then the cheaper leads. And I actually might come back to Expression 1 in a later test, but for my purposes of testing right now, I was trying to find the one with the most clicks because I wanted to move it on to the next round of testing, which I'm going to tell you next. But I just want to say, even if it gets 0 leads, if it got the most amount of clicks and you spent $10 on it, you have still found, or I've still found, my attention grabber, because more clicks equals cheaper leads, but later. Now I know which one of my 3 visuals is the winner for clicks, and it moves on to the next round. Kind of like sports playoffs for like football, soccer, hockey. I don't watch sports, but I'm going with that analogy because it makes sense to me in my head. But why not $5 a day? Why not cut that in half? Okay, so I will do that for certain strategies. And there's one that I call the model strategy, and you probably may have done it or heard of it before, but I like it because it gets like leads under $1, so really, really, really cheap leads. I will make another video on a $5 a day strategy at some point, but I will also do a $5 a day strategy if I know that the leads are supposed to cost $3 or less, because I've tested things for over 2 years. But for most people, especially on your first run, you might see leads for like $6 to $10, like this one here. This one's $10.56, $10.55. Or you might not get any leads yet, but that's okay. So I test with $10 a day, and I share that $10 across 3 different ads in order to get my test results within 3 days. If I did $5 a day, I'd just get them in 6. But I want to decide which move to make next faster, so that way I can be on my way to my winning ad, which is basically my best ad that gets the cheapest leads at the highest quality. But it does take time. So once I've got my winning visual, I will move on to testing text. And through my testing, I actually have found in my testing that I like to use desire-based taglines instead of pain-based taglines, or short hooks, which could be something, and I've used this before. Want soft shaded brows that last? I have done a lot in the beauty services space. So those are going to be a lot of my examples. But let me show you some. Okay, so here's an example of what I would test as a visual show first. So I'm going to play all these at once. They're all the same text on screen, but they're 3 different visuals. So everything is the same. Everything is the same, except they're 3 different visuals. So that is an example of what I would test first, is the 3 different visuals, but everything else stays the same, including the caption. But want subtle sculpted brows that last. That's a tagline. Let me show you some. Here's another one. Yes, I do a lot of beauty stuff. Okay, so here's an example. These ones are the same, except the tagline changes. Brows that save you 10 minutes every morning. Soft powder brow. Heart. Low maintenance beauty that lasts. Heart. Soft powder brow. And I would probably change the text to be exactly the same. This is just a rough draft. But the person is the same. It's just the tagline that changes, and that would be a test I'd run. But I'd pick a 3rd one and run the 3rd one with it as well. So what I would be trying to find out is which one gets the most link clicks now that I've got the most clicks. So link clicks is different from clicks. Let me show you. Okay, link clicks, that is measured through CTR, link click-through rate, and these are percentages again. These ones are low. We're working to get them higher, but let me show you the difference. So flyer 3, $2.99 IG. Preview. Want just a hint of lip color that lasts. Natural lip blush tattoo. Price. So that is ad number 1, and that is getting 0.67. Now this is flyer 4, a B test. Preview. Lip blush, just a hint of lip color that lasts. You can see between the 2, everything is exactly the same. Like the bottom text, everything else is exactly the same. It's just the way we've presented the text. And even this isn't even, it is a bit different. Different font, different color, no pricing in this one. So it's a different way of doing the text, because this, we had a validated format from a different ads test that we ran. So we're like, cool, if this was a validated format in another test, let's try it here against this one. That's why I like doing a community, is because we all kind of share formats and stuff. It's difficult to do templates. Templates sometimes work and don't always work. You can't just take this and plop it in your region and hope it works. I've seen ads like super crush it in one region and then absolutely flop it in another, and literally it's the exact same ad. So it's got to be adapted. Okay, so that was testing text on the image. That's round number 2. So we had visual, then we had text on the visual, and now we're moving on to the next test. So let's say we found winning clicks, winning link clicks. Now we move on. Next thing I test is called above the fold text. So what this is, it's part of the caption. It's a little snippet of text that reads before you see that little see more button. This tiny piece, what it does is it pre-frames how people read the rest of your ad. And it's way more important than I thought. Let me show you a good example. Okay, in this, you see how all of these spaces are the same? So we have the winning visual, the winning text on screen, and now I have text 6 versus text 1. So let me show you side by side. Okay, above the full text. Very careful read. Attention, women in blank. Option 1, you take care of everything and everyone. But when it comes to your brows, ... see more. Option B, wish your brows look like they used to, but easier, you're not alone. ... see more. That is the third test that I do. Just that part. Everything else about the rest of the caption is exactly the same. Everything else about the visuals is exactly the same. Everything about the text on the visuals is exactly the same. That's round 3. So let's say you have good clicks, but you don't have good link clicks yet. There's another way we can fix the problem. I personally would look at the caption, the rest of the ad's caption, in order to fix that problem. Because they stopped, they peeked, they clicked see more, and then they read the caption and were like, nah. And it could be a million things. It could be wordy, it could be generic, it could be giving brochure vibes. No matter what, it is choking up the link clicks. So here's what I'm testing. Okay, so if you look at my titles here, expression 3, remember, expression 3.1, expression 3, test 3 control. So that's like the exact same ad. Control is like the same ad that won the last time. And I tested again against expression 3, test 3, text number 2. So let me just show you, I'm not going to read you the caption. Let me show you the length. So this is text 1, oh dear Jesus, but it was my winning ad so far. And then I look at text 2, oh, it's so much shorter. So that's my next text. And what I can see is, okay, and then I look at my CTR link click-through rate, ooh, it's winning. So text 2 is winning on the link clicks. I know it doesn't sound like much, like 1.88 and compared to 1.52, but when you think about it at scale, when you're thinking about the thousands, that's when it really matters. It doesn't matter when it's like 2 to 3. But even then, it's still like very early into the test. Like on this example, it hasn't even spent $10 on this test yet, so I can't even judge it yet. I'm just showing you as an example. And already, the control has already got a lead, but the top one didn't. So why? What's going on? Well, the top one, the shorter text caption, got more link clicks, but the bottom one got less link clicks and a lead. That's weird. So sometimes shorter is not always better. When I work with people, sometimes they're like, dude, the caption is so long, so no one's going to read it. I'm like, this ain't the Instagram algorithm game. This is a different game. If you can keep them engaged and it speaks to them and they read the whole thing, it's kind of like the ad's doing the heavy lifting for you. So I'm testing a shorter one. It might not work, but I'm going to try it. So jury's still out on this one. I'm still testing. But we are not at leads raining from the sky yet for super cheap. This just moves more humans into your DMs, so then the DM question can do its thing. Yes, there's another step, and has nothing to do with the ad. So here's where I test my DM question. For service-based businesses, I don't want to say always, I like majority of the time run ads right to the DMs. No profile, no website, right to the DMs, because that's where we want them to be, and it's cheaper. So what you can do is you can set this little greeting. So if I go into this ad, scroll all the way to the bottom, oh, a little bit higher. You can set this little question thing here, or like a greeting that like pops up once someone clicks your link. So when they click your link, they don't become a lead. They're brought here into this inbox where they then see another step. And what I do is I set a very simple greeting with a very easy answer. So all they have to do is tap and then they become a lead. I don't want them to think too much. I don't want to have friction. I won't have a lot for them to like hesitate on. But there is a certain strategy. So I would say, personally, if the service that you're offering is already well known, I might ask something like style-based or results-based, such as like, do you want something more natural, a bit bolder? It's easy to answer, and then it gets people into DMs. And then your little answers down here are natural or a bit bolder. You can set 2. Like you can go down here, question 1. It says question, but I set them as statements. That's kind of weird. I put my question up here at the top for the text, and I put my statements down here, the answers. Very strange. I never put like, hi, how much? I don't want that question. Just want people to click. That's the main goal. Just want people to click as a general rule of thumb. But if the service is less well known, like it's something newer or like not super well known yet, then I might ask something that's more discovery based, like, oh, is this your first time looking into something like this? Or have you seen this before? And then they'll click like first time looking into, or I've seen this before. And that's literally the start of the conversation. And you kind of know where they're at. It's also market research. So it's kind of double duty. And yes, you can test both against each other. That's what I would do next, is test one question against the other question. Everything about the ad is exactly the same, except for that one question, because it doesn't necessarily always have to bring in like the most and cheapest leads, because quality is important too. Seriousness is important. I've seen people put a question like, hi, are you ready to book? I didn't advise her to do that, but oh my gosh, it worked, because she had a really good price on the ad for Botox. It was like $6.25 a unit. I've never seen it that cheap. And it was just like, hi, are you ready to book? Yes, no. Yes or no, I have more questions. I was like, you know what? Not mad at it, because it really filters in the serious people. And she got damn sales from that. It was a really good ad. But one question, like an easier question, might bring in leads for $2, but it can be full of like not serious people and tire kickers that like you don't want to deal with. But another might bring leads in for $4. So it brings in less leads, but maybe they're way more serious. Like that can change things. I like testing. And we don't know until we test. And that's why the question is kind of like the final filter before someone becomes a lead. But everything is a filter. Everything filters in the right thing. So that's why if you're like, ChatGPT, make me an ad, and then you get generic results, like it's because you had a generic ad. I will tell you a story about my 30-hour ad later. But personally, how I like to start is something super broad and very frictionless, very easy to answer, not too hard and not too salesy, just to open the conversation. Like literally just to open the floodgates and get the cheapest leads in the door at first. Cheapest at first. Because after this, I still need volume in order to test my DM scripts. Yes, I test DM scripts. I don't just wing it every time they come in DMs. But here is the math brain at work. Bear with me. If I spend $100 and my leads are $10 each, then I get 10 leads. I just get 10 people to talk to. That's it. But if I get that cost per lead down to $3 for the same $100, I get 33 people. That is a way better testing pool for my DM scripts and to test quality. I can't tell you anything with 10 leads. I can't tell you quality at all. So that way I can get more leads through the door and I can figure out quality later. Kind of like keep it like super open and loose to get lots of leads through the door, which is why I like the model strategy that gets leads for like less than $1 or $1.50. And you get like 150 leads for $150. That's insane. And then later on we figure out quality, so that way we can get more, don't zone out, data through the system. So start broad and then later add friction and tighten it up is my recommendation, or is how I go about it. Then you can play around with the question a bit more later. But just a quick caution here. So this is where I see like super smart people get very, very ambitious, which mad respect, love it. But it's also accidentally where I see people get tripped up. So in this example, you're doing a lot of things. You're doing a lot of things all at once. Like you change the DM question and the visual at the same time, or you change the caption and the visual at the same time, or you change the headline and the visual at the same time, or I don't know. But what it does, it muddies up the waters on what's actually working. It kind of happens when you see no leads. You're like, no leads, freak out, change everything all at once. But then if you get good results or bad results, you don't know what it was. You can't isolate the variable. And then even worse, I have this one ads community member. I love her. She just tests a million things and they work. And then she makes money for a week and she turns it off. And then she launches a new ad. I'm like, what are you doing? She turns off a winning ad too soon. I'm like, dude, if you find the winner, for the love of the meta gods, keep it running, add more budget because you're making money, and launch a new campaign. Don't turn off the one that's working for you. So TLDR. Number 1, I start with the visual. Number 2, then I play with the text on the visual. Number 3, then I play with the above the fold text with the winner of the last round, like soccer playoffs. And again, the above the fold text is that tiny little piece of text before the see more button. Then I play with the caption, and then I play with the DM question. But, don't just follow my order blindly. Let your numbers boss you around. Such as if your first ad gets amazing clicks and amazing link clicks, amazing, but no one's becoming a lead in your DMs, then skip everything else and go straight to fixing the DM question and only fix that. Or another example, if you're getting good link clicks and good leads, but the overall clicks weren't very good, don't turn it off because you got leads. Keep that ad running. Let's call it winning. And then launch a new campaign and start testing new visuals with additional budget. And ideally, you're already making money, but don't turn off that ad just because the clicks are low if your link clicks and your leads are good. So in a nutshell, basically don't fix what ain't broke. But I swear, for like five years, this all looked like alien code written backwards by a baby with their left hand. So don't feel bad if the numbers confuse you or continue to confuse you. But once you know which 4 numbers to look at, it's actually not that scary. And even better, they will tell you exactly what's wrong and exactly what to do next.